KTSM 9 News at 6 starts right now.
Live on location today as we continue with Season 3 of Smalltown Spotlight. We are coming to you today live from the 5 Points area in central El Paso, where big things are happening, and we can't wait to tell you all about it. Good evening for this special edition of KTSM 9 News at 6 Smalltown Spotlight. I'm Andy Morgan.
And I'm Monica Cortez, and we are so excited to have chosen 5 Points for our episode 2 of the Smalltown Spotlight series. You know, we've been seeing so much growth in this area. You've seen it come alive. You've seen restaurants, businesses just coming down to this area. And as a matter of fact, I got a chance to sit down with Representative Josh Acevedo and talk about the growth in this particular neighborhood. Take a look.
5 Points. The name conjures up things for many people. New homes, parks, businesses, a new frontier. It began as a label dreamed up by businessmen to promote the fastest growing neighborhood of an already quickly expanding city. It's where 5 major city streets, Montana, Pershing, Piedras, and Elm, all met, surrounded by homes, businesses, and accessible by bus or trolley. Now, more than a century later, the neighborhood that survived plenty of ups and downs is now being brought back to life.
I think it has a lot of charm, and I think that's why people are really discovering it.
Josh Acevedo, city rep for District 2, says he grew up in this neighborhood and has seen it come a long way with so many new businesses and restaurants, bringing life to a place with so much history.
I think we have a lot more potential, and we're going to have some projects that are coming up that are really going to just take it to the next level.
One of those projects include demolishing the El Paso Police headquarters once they depart in a couple of years.
It's a huge city block, and I think we could have housing, we could have a grocery store.
While plans for the huge lot are still unclear, Acevedo says the neighborhood has a couple of years to decide what would fit in that empty lot. He says he's hopeful the city can turn it into something the community could truly take advantage of.
You know, we always have Trader Joe's and H-E-B on our mind as El Pasoans, and if we were able to do that there in a central place, I think it would be a game changer.
Another project in the works is a $2 million project called the Sun City Lights.
We're investing in the area, we're growing the sidewalks, we're bringing trees, we're making a park out of the little triangle in front of Chilaquiles Buen Dia, and we're putting a big sign that says 5 Points lit up.
However, Acevedo warns this project comes with its fair share of growing pains.
We're going to have some headaches as we go through it next year. We are going to be closing Piedras south of Montana, all the way up until Yandell.
For how long exactly?
I think that's the $1 million question, but I'm hoping no more than a year.
Acevedo encourages residents of this historic neighborhood to voice their opinions about projects they would like to see in order to keep their community growing and filled with life. Something that would put a smile on the face of the businessmen from a century ago who first coined the name 5 Points.
And you just heard from City Rep for District 2, Josh Acevedo, joining us live here on Smalltown Spotlight. Josh, first of all, thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for being in 5 Points.
Yeah, we want to talk more about the Sun City Lights project. Why was this so much of a necessity for your district? And timeline-wise, what are you guys looking at right now?
Yeah, so I grew up in 5 Points, 5 blocks away from where we're at right now, and just the transformation of what's happened in recent years. This is really big for my district, and so the Sun City Lights is one of the biggest puzzle pieces. It's an over $2 million project that's been in the works for 5 years, and what we have seen is there's been temporary things that have been made right now, and this is going to make them permanent. So we're going to have more trees, we're going to have better sidewalks, we're going to have a different way to go down the road. And I think as we're looking at this, we're starting at the beginning of next year. It's probably going to be about 10 to 14 months of construction. And so we're trying to mitigate that right now. I had a community meeting with my constituents, and there's going to be some issues with traffic mitigation. How are we going to access this? It's also going to be for the businesses. How is this going to affect businesses? And we need to get this right and mitigate through those issues.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the biggest things that you talked about is the whole, construction and stuff, there's one street that's used very much that's going to be closed down for a while. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Piedras between Montana and Yandel will be closed, and I think that that's where we are looking at data with our staff. I actually have a meeting on Friday to kind of discuss what the community gave us as input to make sure that businesses will be accessible, that people will be able to use the sidewalks, stuff like that, that we'll know what the detours will be and we're not going to affect business. We have Morra Mia that has just opened in the last year, and there was a big investment of money that was made. So we need to make sure that we're protecting business at all time, and then we're also balancing that with traffic safety and pedestrian safety.
Amazing.
Big things happening here in District 2 for Representative Josh Acevedo and his constituents. We do appreciate you being here and shedding some more light on this Sun City Lights project.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really awesome, and you should come back more often.
Yeah,
Aw,
we definitely
thank
will.
you, Josh.
Definitely to eat, right?
Yes, the food is great here at the junction. Come on out.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And speaking of food, you know who else is enjoying their food today at this very
I know who.
special restaurant in 5 Points is our very own Robert Bettis. Hey there, Robert. What are you up to?
Hold me warm against your heart. I feel your words, the tender trembling moments start. We're in a world, our very own, sharing a love that only few have ever known. Wine-colored days, warmed by the sun. Yes, it's time for the Smalltown Spotlight, and I am live at Monteleone's Italian restaurant right on Gateway West. What a fabulous place. They've already fed me so many calories of delicious pasta, and soon I understand we're also going to have a pizza in that mix as well. It is my absolute honor and privilege to announce our sponsor for the Smalltown Spotlights for this year, Daniela Labinati, owner of the Labinati Law Firm. It is a pleasure, and thank you so much for sponsoring these small towns.
It is my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Well, why Small Town Spotlight? What made you decide to sponsor this?
Well, two things. We need more good news, and I just want to be part of the community, and I love that community knows the people, the attorneys that are here in El Paso, so,
Yes.
and the small community. So,
Are you ready to have some pizza?
ready.
Yes, ready indeed. Okay, let's talk quickly about chance of thunderstorms tomorrow with a high temperature of 82 degrees. Looking so good for Mother's Day weekend. I'm going to have your detailed forecast. We're going to get to know this high-powered attorney and her law firm and why she sponsored us. All that coming up in just a little bit. Monica, Andy?
Robert, thank you so much. And, we still have a lot to get through. I know Robert's talking a little bit about Italian food.
Yep.
We have a special restaurant to feature a little later in this newscast.
Yeah, we've barely scraped the surface here in 5 Points, but we do want to get to our news of the day. Let's send it over to Estella Casas, who's back in our studios in West El Paso for today's headlines. Estella?
Yes, to today's top stories. The Walmart shooter is now in state prison. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office sent us this photo showing Patrick Crucius wearing an orange and white jumpsuit as he is about to board a plane for Huntsville. Crucius, who was shackled to a waist chain, was escorted by a pair of deputies while another 4 uniformed and heavily armed men secured the area. Crucius was flown to Huntsville, Texas, where he will spend the rest of his life. Sheriff Oscar Ugarte tells KTSM, quote, "With this transfer complete, this individual is no longer in our community and we can continue focusing on healing and moving forward," end quote. Crucius pleaded guilty to state charges last month and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. If you're planning to travel soon, you're going to want to take a look at your ID and make sure you have that little gold star on the top right corner of your driver's license. That's because starting Wednesday, TSA will be enforcing the real ID requirement and checking for that gold star. However, not having one does not mean you won't get to fly, but just make sure you bring other forms of ID and some extra time with you.
If travelers don't have the driver's license, they can actually present a passport a lawful permanent residence card or green card, a tribal ID. If you still don't have any of those 13 or 14 documents that we have listed, you will actually be asked a series of questions for our officers to verify your identity.
TSA reminds you that the Real ID is not a substitute for a passport. You still need a passport if you are traveling out of the country. If you already have a Real ID, you don't have to reapply for it, but if you still need one, you can always schedule an appointment. We have all that information at KTSM.com. The Hugs Not Walls event, where families that have been separated by the Rio Grande share a hug before they have to go back to opposite sides of the border, has been canceled. The Border Network for Human Rights was planning to have the event this weekend for Mother's Day, but we were told, and they were told no from various agencies who in the past have provided access and security for the binational event. It was canceled because the Trump administration designated the entire Mexico-New Mexico border as a national defense area. Well, that's a quick look at today's top stories. Let's send things back to Monica Cortez and Andy Morgan, who are live in the 5 Points area for our Small Town Spotlight.
Hey, Estela. Yes, thank you so much. You know, we're out here. We've been enjoying this beautiful restaurant here at the Junction Brunch House at 5 Points area, and we're going to continue to talk all about restaurants. I love it. There is one, Andy, that just recently celebrated its 75th birthday. Imagine being in business 75 years.
Yeah, we're talking about the Italian Kitchen. One thing that I've noticed with the Italian Kitchen in all great Italian restaurants, right, is typically those recipes are handed down for generations and generations. The Italian Kitchen, much the same there. And we actually got a chance to talk to the owner about how the restaurant came to be. Check it out.
What are the odds of trying to find a real legit mom and pop Italian restaurant that's been around for 77 years? It's very unique.
Santiago Alonso III, grandson of the founder of Italian Kitchen, 3 generations of tradition, food, and family.
I've worked here with my grandparents since I was a kid.
Founded in 1948, the Italian Kitchen has become an El Paso staple.
My grandfather's family, the Sicilians, when they came here and they opened up the restaurant, they actually bought a whole city block over by El Paso High.
Santiago says his great-grandfather was really involved with the community through St. Patrick's Church and would share his love of food with others.
He would do spaghetti dinners for, you know, all the people of the church.
The restaurant, celebrating 77 years in business, has withstood the test of time by staying frozen in time.
It's kind of a time machine when you come in here, you know, when you walk in.
You'll find pictures of Sam and Rita, Santiago's great-grandparents, along with other pieces of history in the restaurant, including a very unique relic.
I mean, that's like the original register, and I mean, they don't make them like they used to, and it's still our cash box.
Santiago shares one thing he enjoys the most is seeing all the different kinds of customers walking in.
It's super neat to see the old generation customers that have been coming here for generations, and then seeing the new customers that are going to be the new generation and the new customers to, you know, moving forward.
As the season rolls on, the years become decades, and the 5 Points area continues to grow, Santiago hopes all El Pasoans will continue to love this historic restaurant that has stood the test of time in this neighborhood.
I hope that, you know, we can be a staple in El Paso for another 77 years.
You know, it was so incredible kind of going down memory lane with Santiago, the owner. And one of the things that he told me that just stuck with me is that a lot of the customers, the older customers that go in there and they reminisce, they're talking about 50-cent beers.
Yeah, I know.
That's how much it used to be back in the day. And sometimes he's just like, you know what, okay, here's your beer. But it's just like, you look at the menu, Andy, I looked at it, a pasta dish cost you $2.
Yeah. What's your favorite Italian dish?
I don't know. I really love spaghetti. Pasta is my thing.
You can't go wrong with spaghetti, right? I'm always a lasagna guy. I always judge a good Italian restaurant by its lasagna. Thumbs up for Italian Kitchen. Also, gelato. I always finish it off with gelato.
So delicious.
We are just getting started here on Small Town Spotlight. We have much more to bring to you right after this break.
We'll be right back.
Your local weather authority. Robert Bettis, the Borderlands' only certified broadcast meteorologist.
Oh, what is this that they've given me? Oh, it's cranberry juice. But it looks good on television. We are live at Monteleone's Italian restaurant on Gateway West. It's part of our Small Town Spotlight feature on the 5 Points area. And joining me is our sponsor of the Small Town Spotlights of the Labinati law firm, Daniela Labinati. Of course, Daniela, everybody's seen you on the billboards and things like that. But to meet you in person, oh, what an honor.
Thank you. It's my pleasure and honor to be here
Are
with you.
Are you hungry? Because I see one of the Monteleone's pizzas coming. Oh my goodness. And I understand, of course, they've taught us that everything is made with love. Hi, Julie. And with this pizza, it comes a song.
It comes with a song at Monteleone's.
Let's hit it.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
We're ready.
When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie. That's amore. That's amore. Enjoy your pizza.
I love it. Grazie, grazie. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that looks good.
Amazing.
You know, yeah.
I've lived in El Paso since 2005. I was not aware of this place. This pizza is amazing.
Isn't it fantastic?
It looks amazing.
Okay, let's talk forecast. Then I want to ask you about, I want to talk about justice with a heart. We'll do that in just a second. Here comes your exclusive 9-day forecast. We can expect a chance of isolated thunderstorms tomorrow with a high temperature of 82 degrees. Then that storm chance vanishes on Friday. A little windy on the western slopes with a high moving up slightly. For Saturday, beautiful, lots of sunshine, couple of clouds, and a high of 84. We move up to 88 on Mother's Day Sunday. Beautiful that day, a little breezy in the afternoon. Mom will love that day. Then we say goodbye to the pretty weather and we say hello to the heat and the wind. On Monday, we're going to move up to 92 degrees. By the middle of the week, the winds will be gusty and we will be looking at a dusty haze. So let me ask you a question, Daniela.
Yes.
Why did you become an attorney? What took you down that road? And how in the world did you open up a big law firm?
All right, there's so many questions, but I came here as an immigrant in 1997, and when I started at Pflugerville High School, they told me that they will not accept my credits from my country, so I could not accept a no. So I went in the yellow pages and I looked up Texas Board of Education, and I called and I fought for my right to have my credit accepted, and then that's what I did, and I was able to graduate from high school in 1 year. And everybody told me I couldn't do it, and so everyone is amazed, and they told me, you know what, you can fight for justice because it was unjust what they were doing. So that's why I decided to become a lawyer.
And you went on to law school. Of course, you have other attorneys who work with you at the law firm. And I see your billboards everywhere. Clearly, you've had success. I want to talk more about that. But we have a very special segment we're going to launch here on Smalltown Spotlight.
Okay.
And it's with my photographer, Tony Pena, and me. And it's called, Should We Represent Ourselves? Okay, and Tony, are we ready to represent ourselves in a court of law? You bet we are. You bet we are. She's going to give us the tough questions and we'll have the answers. We'll be right back. You stay with KTSM 9 News.
Season 3 of Smalltown Spotlight rolls on as we are coming to you live on location from the Junction Brunch House here in the 5 Points area located in central El Paso. This place in particular is certainly worth a try. Unique also because it was built from what used to be a house once upon a time. And when you think just of the 5 Points area in general, I said it to you a little bit earlier, you think of restaurants, you think of really good food.
Absolutely. And you know, we've seen a lot of restaurants pop up in the last few years, and so I would even dare to say that a brand new restaurant here in the 5 Points area has become synonymous with the neighborhood. In fact, I got a chance to sit down with the owner of the Junction Brunch House where we are at and the owner of Casa Pantera to kind of talk about their journey navigating this neighborhood. Check it out.
This is a breakfast place, you know, a brunch place that's in Five Points area. You know, that's different.
Becky Robertson, owner of the Junction Brunch House located on the corner of Pershing and Rayner.
It's a little house that has been bought to a restaurant.
Opening in 2023, Becky says she never imagined how quickly El Paso embraced her.
So we started very slow, but it seemed like after the first couple of months, we already started getting a line.
The Junction Brunch House offers quite a variety of food, from sweets to savory.
I definitely did my best to be as encompassing to everyone's flavor profiles and taste buds.
Felipe Gonzalez started alongside Becky as the head chef and says there is one thing you absolutely need to try on the menu.
I mean, if you have the wallet, try one of everything, honestly. My sous chef, Tina, she made probably one of the best peach cobblers you're ever gonna have.
The Junction Brunch House prides themselves in keeping almost all the ingredients local.
We look for people that have a business here in El Paso. Our baker, our cold brew person, the one that does the hot sauce.
As for the name, Becky says it's a nod to an everyday El Paso experience.
When we were going over the names, all of a sudden the train comes right behind us, you know. So I said, you know, it's just the junction, you know, because it's a meeting place.
With the 5 Points area growing so rapidly, you can truly set up your entire day here. You'll start off at brunch at the junction and walk down the streets and maybe end up here having dinner at Casa Pantera.
So there's some magic over here on Pershing, and I think we just kind of took a calculated risk and wanted to roll with that magic.
Casa Pantera opened its doors in 2022 and has since become an upscale eatery centered in the heart of 5 Points.
We always wanted to be more of a celebration kind of place. Go hang out with your friends and celebrate a birthday or an anniversary or any like accomplishment.
Austin says his restaurant has a very special menu.
When we started down that road and really kind of dialing in and defining what Casa Pantera was going to be, you know, we figured out quickly that this is going to be a wood-fired Mexican chop house.
Much like the Junction Brunch House, this restaurant started out as an old house, which is where the name Casa comes from. But why Pantera?
The Pantera side of it, we wanted to pick something that drew inspiration from like the Mayan Riviera, and we came along with like the panther, the Pantera, sexy, strong, very feminine.
Chef Santiago Estrada has been a chef for over 20 years and says all of the food you will find in Casa Pantera is chef-inspired.
We craft everything in-house. There's a lot of intention to, you know, not only our food, but also our cocktails. This with our community, both Austin and I are from here. So to be able to come back home after, you know, moving away for so long and share this with my community that I grew up with is very special.
Both restaurant owners agree they couldn't have chosen a better location to start something new in El Paso.
Look at where we're located. Our proximity to Juarez, right? Proximity to the airport, proximity to the northeast, east side, west side, downtown. I mean, 5 Points is arguably, you know, one of the greatest, if not greatest, neighborhoods in the community.
All right, well, you just saw them on that story. Now they're live here with us. We have owner and chef Becky Robertson, and this is Chef Felipe Gonzalez. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And then, you know what, Miss Becky, I was going to ask you, just talk a little bit about your restaurant. How has, you know, people really embraced you here in this location?
Yes, the community has really come forward and welcomed us very well. We started with a theme of a southern twist to our food. I got Felipe to go along with that, and he's bought the gravy and biscuits and and the fried green tomatoes to the menu, which the people here in El Paso weren't used to, but they really have embraced us. Yeah.
I can get on board with bringing the gravy, that's for sure. Chef Felipe, I'll go with, why the 5 Points area? Why is this place special, especially for this location? Why did you guys decide to go here?
5 Points has a large history in El Paso culture, and it was, honestly, it's just a great location. The past couple of years, 5 Points has really come back to life, and we're just really excited to be part of the ride.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so for our viewers at home, you guys, what is the one thing that if we're gonna stop here, we're gonna order? What would you say to that?
Chicken fried steak.
Yeah, chicken fried steak. Beyond a reasonable doubt, chicken fried steak, you won't go home hungry, I promise you.
See, you know it's good because you asked the question,
Like
and
this.
without any hesitation, right away, nailed it. Chicken fried steak. Give me what's that look like? What on the menu else is really good?
So definitely everyone's favorite is the breakfast tacos. I mean, you can't go wrong starting your day off with tacos. We also have fried green tomatoes, which no one else in El Paso does right now, and we happen to do them very well.
And you know, really quickly, one last thing that I love about your guys' restaurant is that you buy local. Everything is local. You don't outsource anything.
That's correct. We have our cold brew coffees made here. Aaron Taylor of Common Grounds Coffee. Brittany Molina of Busy Bee Bodega does our pastries. Salsa Hernandez does our salsa. CJ Zuniga does our hot sauces. We just have a long list of vendors locally that we like to use.
Absolutely love to see that. Chef Felipe, Becky, thank you so much, first of all, for having us here and being able to tell your guys' story here in the 5 Points area.
Thank you guys.
Thank you again for having us, and we hope to see you guys soon at the restaurant.
Absolutely.
We can't now, right? The chicken fried steak. Book it.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We still have so much more to share with you right after this break.
Welcome back to Smalltown Spotlight, where we are coming to you live on location from the 5 Points area. Wanted to talk about the McCall Neighborhood Center, which helps to facilitate and honoring as well as preserving Black heritage in the Southwest. Certainly a big part of the 5 Points area here.
Absolutely. This is such a historic building, such a historic business. And you know, to talk about, it was established back in the 1980s, and it basically serves just the needs of the community. Check it out.
This center was actually originally a house. It was a house that was owned by Marshall and Ogalee McCall, and they are two interesting individuals because Marshall McCall happened to be the very first African-American mail carrier in El Paso, and his wife Ogalee McCall, she was the first high school principal of the all-black school, Douglas School here in El Paso. The McCall Neighborhood Center was a project that was taken on by the legendary Miss Leona Ford Washington. Miss Washington, she was a community activist, she was a community organizer. Through the help of other people from the community, she was able to get non-payable loans from the city to make the additions of the McCall Center. And the additions include an art gallery. We have some meeting rooms that people use for their organizations. We have a replica of the Douglas School over here. We have the Juliet Hart Education Center. Donations are critical because we are a self-sufficient organization. We get no money from the city, no money from the county, no money from the state of Texas, and no money from the federal government. We have a historical marker on the outside of the McCall Center for this gentleman right here, Dr. Lawrence Aaron Nixon. Dr. Nixon, he is known for his civil rights work that he done in the city. He started the first branch of the NAACP in the state of Texas. And the state of Texas started right here in El Paso, and he was a tremendous voting rights advocate. We like to invite all the public to the McCall Center and check it out. We offer tours at the McCall Center. We would love you to bring your family down here or organization down here, and we like to showcase the place to show it to the community.
Just one more stop to make here in the 5 Points area.
I know. I love the history. It is so amazing. And guys, we still have a lot. I know you won't believe me, but we still have so much more to highlight a little later in this newscast.
That's right. Stay with us here on KTSM 9 News at 6, Smalltown Spotlight.
Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderlands' only certified broadcast meteorologist.
I'm live at Monteleone's Italian restaurant with our sponsor of the Smalltown Spotlights, Daniela Labinati of the Labinati Law Firm. I think Tony Pena and I are ready to go. Let's put up that graphic. Should we represent ourselves? Tony, are you ready to answer the legal question?
Yes, we are.
We're totally ready.
Totally ready. All
Yes.
right. I heard that last week you and Tony were at Truth or Consequences.
Yes, at the hot springs.
All right. And
Totally legal.
did everything go okay?
Everything was fine. I had a wonderful time.
You had a wonderful time. All right. Now, hypothetically, if you were in the hot tub, all right?
Yes.
And you got out of the tub.
Yes.
And you slipped and fell because there was water on the floor.
Okay.
And then you rolled down the embankment and then right into the river.
Right into the river. Okay.
And you got injured.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Maybe even fractured your back.
Okay. That did not happen, but yes, hypothetically, what if that had happened?
Hypothetically, if that happened, does the business of that facility owes a duty of care to you? What's the answer?
Okay. Tony, you're on this, right? My photographer, Tony Pena. You feeling good? I'm going to do the weather. We're going to have that legal answer when we represent ourselves.
Are you sure?
Yes, we're sure.
All right.
Here's your forecast. This one I'm a little more sure about. 82 high temperature tomorrow with the chance of isolated area thunderstorms, non-severe. As a little system passes over Juarez, we get some moisture in from the southeast. But then we dry out for the weekend. It will be a high temperature of 83 on Friday. Lots of sunshine, a little windy on the western slopes. Beautiful for the weekend as we continue the warming trend. Up to 88 on Mother's Day Sunday. And then we enter a period of 90s with gusty winds. And yes, unfortunately, we're going to see some dust on a few of the afternoons next week. Do you have any additional questions for us?
What about if you had too much to drink or anything to drink in that hot tub?
Tony?
Miss Labinati, this man had too much coconut water.
Does that change?
Whose side are you on? I guess basically...
What about if you were in the cell phone?
Okay. So
Is that easier?
what I'm sensing is that you have professionals that take care of that stuff.
Yes, we do.
And do you handle accidents like that?
Yes, we've been handling accidents like that since, 2005 as an attorney. My law firm since 2010. We have 5 lawyers. We have 30 employees at Labinati Law. We are licensed in Texas and New Mexico. And we represent a lot of people who get injured in different businesses. And we take care from filing the claim, the lawsuits, gathering the evidence. And you don't have to do anything. Just follow the lawyer's advice, and you don't have to pay anything unless we win.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the legal question has had something to do with the booty?
That's an important question that we need to know if you had anything to drink, because that might change the outcome.
I understand. Okay, we won't be representing ourselves, and thank you, Daniela, for that great lesson. Stay with KTSM 9 News.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Smalltown Spotlight series here in the 5 Points area. We're coming to you live from the Junction Brunch House. And to kind of finish off today's segment, we kind of want to talk about a business, mom and pop business, if you will, that, does boots.
K&K Boots, that's the one.
Yeah.
Family-owned business, and they offer a lot of different exotic skins for your boots, which makes them pretty unique. Let's take a look.
These boots were definitely made for walking. For over 20 years, Chente Flores has been in the boot business.
Una empresa familiar, pues obviamente mi esposa y mis 2 hijas.
His 2 daughters, Karen and Katia, the inspiration for the store's name, K&K.
Y hay gente que entra aquí, se le hace las botas custom made.
Clients from all walks of life now wear Chente's carefully crafted footwear.
Tengo clientes Tengo Texas Rangers, del Border Patrol, el Speaker of the House, aquí a hacerse botas.
Chente says he gets a lot of different exotic orders from, obviously you have your leather to exotic skins. For example, the caiman. You also have the stingray. I thought this one was so beautiful. So exotic skins like this, it takes 2 of these to make a pair of boots, and not to mention to even go with the accessories that go along with it, but it doesn't stop there.
Clients can choose from various skins: ostrich, anaconda, elephant, and even an exotic Brazilian fish.
Okay, este es un armadillo auténtico.
Chente says setting up shop in the 5 Points area has helped his business grow. From people walking around after a nice dinner at Casa Pantera, or having brunch at the junction, or just walking around the neighborhood, customers find his store and sometimes they walk out with the new pair of exotic boots.
Ha habido mucha fluidez de gente y esa gente, bastante gente ha entrado a mi establecimiento y sale con botas de aquí.
Chente adds that he prides himself on one special form of advertising for his business: word of mouth. That and the fruits of his hard work definitely speak for themselves.
All right, and well, we have our chef crew back. This is from the Junction Brunch House. And guys, we're so happy to just have you here. You guys are the minds behind the cuisine.
Yes, definitely. My crew, Christina Padilla and Chris Soto, my sous chefs, we definitely make some magic happen on the weekends.
Christina and Chris, my question for you guys, how does one get into culinary the way that you guys have?
Honestly, I was brought up into it, so I grew up in the industry.
Chris?
Kind of embarrassing, but I never really knew how to cook before, so I was just like, I have to. I need to learn. I need to survive. Yeah, we're doing really good. Yes.
Years in the making.
Yes.
You know, I have to say, when I come here, the few times that I have come here, I've tried the pozole. Who's in charge of that?
Actually, that's a 2-day process, and that's well, actually 3-day process because we have
effort.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of all of us coming together to make the pozole.
We asked Felipe his favorite dish. He went with the country fried steak. What about favorite one to make? How about? Maybe that's a little bit different. Everyone likes to try different foods and has a favorite, but for you guys to make, what's your favorite dish?
That's a good question. I would go the Nashville chicken sandwich.
Why is that?
Well, I like spicy stuff. Can't go wrong with chicken.
No, you definitely
Pickles, mayo, the best.
Yeah.
Mine, personally, Felipe put me in charge of it, but it's the Tina's peach cobbler French toast.
I've heard it's
so that's
amazing.
my namesake, and that's my baby. So.
Oh, that sounds
I
incredible.
like country fried steak, but I got a sweet tooth, especially in the mornings.
Yeah.
So
Only on the weekends, though.
only on the weekends.
Yes.
Something to remember.
So talk a little bit about this, Chef Felipe.
Yes, so we were nominated for Best Brunch Spot by Best El Paso. As a matter of fact, last year we won Best Breakfast and Best Brunch through the City Magazine. So we were just honored that we were nominated for another award. So hopefully we can win. That'd be great. But honestly, more than anything, we just want to make sure all our guests are happy and well taken care of. Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Chef. And thank you, guys. Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world sees you shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore.
Okay, let's take a last look at that forecast. Isolated thunderstorms tomorrow with a high temperature of 82 degrees. Beautiful for the Mother's Day weekend ahead. Saturday 84, Sunday 88. Then we've got gusty winds with high temperatures moving back into the 90s.
When the stars ache, you drool just like pasta, but you it's amore.
Monica, Andy, back to you, my friends.
All right.
Looks like we missed out.
I I know, it looks so much fun. Thank you so much, Robert. And you know what? We've had so much fun here. We've learned so much about the 5 Points area and all the amazing businesses here.
No doubt about that. And if you missed any of the segments on today's episode of Smalltown Spotlight, make sure you go to ktsm.com. We also have them on our YouTube channel. And we will, of course, see you tonight at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, next